And as for the bird keeping hobbies there, it's been with me for more than 25 plus years. So have like every hobby, I started my hobby with budgerigars and all these things. Had a lot of other smaller birds, never ventured into bigger birds because of our own personal this one. Have been focusing lately in the last 10 years, 10, 12 years on the finches and canaries, purely on that. And I'll just see whatever I would be sharing here in this group is mainly on my own experiences. Okay, there are no mantras for success or something. It's a hit and trial. Uh, I have learned a lot by wrong experiences of the experience is more on lot of mortalities that have happened and sharing of views from people like hobbies like you. Okay, so I keep my presentation very crisp and small in simple this one, and we are open for discussions. So you can I would run through my presentation, and then might be we can open up the discussion once the presentation is over. Okay, I hope this would be okay with you.
Okay.
Started.
That's fine. That's
Nice. Yeah.
Okay, so today, as you all know, the topics mainly is on care and breeding of canaries and green singing finches and goldens, of course, because I have been keeping them also in this one. Uh, the topics that I would cover mainly in this webinar is the past and present of canary keeping in India. Okay, the focus of my presentation would be mainly towards canaries and green singers, and of course, most of this will also imply for other finches and goldians also. Okay, then second topic would be procuring and settling of the birds. Third, housing and feeding of canaries and green singing finches. Hygiene, breeding's do's and don'ts, and singing finches, a brief of that, because this is the singing finches is something new that has hardly come around 3-4 years back in India. Okay. See, canary keeping in India is, I'm going to say, across the world, it has been there for more than 200 years. But in India, it has mainly come during the British era, when it was mainly imported from China, Germany, and of course England. But there were like on an average, those imports were mainly because that time there was no import rules or anything. It used to come by ship or whatever hobbies used to get it. Traders used to get around 7,000 plus birds on an average every year that used to come. See, like in the present days, still if you see, Kolkata has been a hub for most of the bird trade. Similar, even previously, Kolkata was the main hub, might be because of the ports that it had or something. There are a lot of people from Kolkata who used to breed them, trade them, and of course the Anglo-Indian community that was there. Anglo-Indian community, even I know during my childhood days, I used to see a few of the Anglo-Indian communities in Pune who used to keep canaries and breed. But again, it was very skewed up to those people. Now, post-independence, what has happened is, see, with a lot of birds like budgies and zebra finches and all, which come at an economical price. And in India, we are mainly focused on the pricing of any hobby. Of course, because all our budgets pockets would be tight, we go purely by the budget, whatever is within our budgets, we go. So canary was generally out of budget thing. Not many people were interested because even on breeding them, they used to not get that much money like what a zebra finch or a budgie or anything would get. But surely in the past few years, in the past 8-10 years, the few breeders that are there across India have been gathering across their stocks and trying to breed and keep the hobby a bit alive. Now, in the last few years, that the canaries have been spreading across India also, so that helps to improve the hobby. And I'm sure whenever I meet any big hobbyist who are, I mean, say the pinnacle of large birds of hookbills and all, I see them always telling that, yeah, I surely would want to keep a pair of canary. So that itself is a very positive sign that when bigger breeders and all, they show interest in canaries and might be the finches, which are generally not so lucrative for them as a business. This hobby will surely increase, and we can see some better future for them here in India. One request is, if I am going fast, please let me know. I would slow down, okay? Or if there are any queries, you can surely point out.
Sure.
Okay.
To go ahead, just about procuring and settling birds. See, we all know everywhere from whenever we started our hobby, we would have procured our birds from somewhere. It could be our friends or some relative or trader, or generally it's a trader, because initially we would not know the hobbies that are there in our locality or vicinity or this one. It's the initial first phase of this one is our traders. Okay. But to ensure, see, now thankfully there are a lot of hobbies across India for different birds. This one, it is always preferable to get local bred birds. Local bred birds have got a lot of advantages of they getting acclimatized to that area, and they having gone through the change of weather conditions for that area. And when I'm talking local bred birds for India, because each state we have a different climatic conditions. I mean to say, just to say, in South India itself, Kerala has one type of climate and Karnataka has one type of climate. Within Karnataka, there are some areas which have got a complete dry area, and a place like Bangalore, which is completely unpredictable. One day it will be raining, the second day it will be hot, the third day it will be cold. So there is no the climate is very unpredictable. So it's always better to get local bred birds which will settle down fast, and if possible, try to get young birds. Young birds will settle down faster as compared to adult birds. And once young birds settle down, once they're settled, it becomes easy for them to whatever you plan to. I mean, say they will breed faster. They will their health conditions would be good. And of course, if you know a particular breeder, it is much better to buy birds from the breeder. See, buying from a breeder would be always it comes with a premium, because the breeder, it also depends from breeder to breeder, because breeders would generally, what will happen is they will charge a little higher than the market, because it will depend on what type of care they would have taken, the type of feed that they would be giving on a day-to-day basis, the whatever medication care, maintenance of that would be there. So they would charge a premium. So it also depends upon your finances, that if it suits you, but it would be better to buy from a known breeder. And when you are buying any bird, canary or green singing finch or golden, when you are buying them, you're buying a pair, kindly give it time to settle down in your place. I have seen, and in fact, my own experiences in the initial days, as soon as we buy a pair of bird, we put them for breeding. See, it's like we humans, once we go from one place to other, we take time to settle down. I think so. We need to give time to any of the birds that we get to our place to settle down. We should not hurry up them for putting them to breeding and all. It should take time. Let them, give them 1 month, 8-10 days, at least minimum 10 days to settle down into their new house. Once they settle down, then they will understand the environment, and then they'll take to breeding. But we should give time. And very important is because if you are buying a bird from your birds from the known source, he would of course give you a idea of what are the treatments or what is the schedule that he used to follow for maintaining of the bird and all. But once you buy birds from an unknown source, or you don't know the history of these birds, it is necessary that you need to start some schedule for your birds. And give, are you able to see my presentation? Hello?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
This if you see the Excel, I have mentioned the schedule that I am maintaining for my birds. Okay. Now, like day one, as soon as I get a bird, I give them ivermectin or scat, whatever is available with you. And now scat is commonly available. We have very good traders across south and north also who provide all these medications. Day one, same day, I provide Alpha-Vet. Alpha-Vet is a homeopathy medicine. It has proved very good for any bird that is in stress or because of some climatic conditions. That, say example, you get a bird from Kolkata and I take it by it in Bangalore. Both the weather conditions are completely different. Kolkata is a humid coastal area. Bangalore is a finicky climate. I mean, they have it can be cold, it can be hot, anything. And so what happens, the Alpha-Vet helps in de-stressing the bird and trying to manage the climatic condition changes that it comes from this one. Generally, 1 or 2 days of giving this, say give 2 ml in a 100 ml water, it settles down. And from day 2 to day 6, I treat them for coccidiosis, this one. See, invariably we have seen in most of the finches and canaries, the biggest killer is coccidiosis. Okay, so it's much better that we take a preventive because we don't know the history of the birds that we have procured. It is better to give them a 5-day treatment on the coccidiosis. Give around 0.5 grams of give around 2 grams in a liter. If you take to give 2 grams in a liter of water, and every day you change it for 5 days. Day 7 again repeat the ivermectin drop, giving it on the body of the bird. You can give it in 2 places. One is at the back of the neck on the bare skin, or on the under the feathering, under the feather, on the wing, bare skin of the wing. S76 in drinking water. See, now I suppose most of you would have some veterinary pharma or distributor near your area. There is another alternative for S76, that is Hi-Tech. Okay. You can look at it because S76 has become costly nowadays. So Hi-Tech is, I had to come up with an alternative finding of S76 because my canaries were completely infected with red mites in last year. So I had to completely disinfect my bird room in and out, every bird, everything. So I required a liter of S76 would cost me a bounty. So I found a local veterinary solution, and it works out very well. I treat them, I disinfected their drinking water once in 2 months for 2 days, and then in the bath every 15 days. So this takes care of the red mite, because I have not seen red mites affecting my Goldens. Okay, but canaries, surely red mites or blood mites, they are very dangerous. We can lose chicks. Adults may somehow survive. See, I will tell you, just to give you a bit more info on the red mites that are there. Red mites are not unlike other mites. They do not stay in the feathers of the birds during the entire day. In the entire day, they would have made a nest in any of your cage, tray, or if in the cage, could be in the nest of the bird. They will make below, and they'll be there in the daytime. They get active during the night time. So during the daytime, you will not be able to see them in your eyes. So only do they get active during the night times, and they enter the bird's featherings and start sucking the blood. Now what happens, an adult bird may probably survive this, but if there are chicks which don't have featherings to protect them, the red mites literally kill it. I mean, so it could be within a day or so, you will find the chicks dead. Okay, so you can use S76. S76, of course, is a undebatable, very good medicine that can be given orally and also externally. And of course, the alternative local medicine that we have is high tech. Okay, and again on the 10th day, I give them Alpha-Vet. Alpha-Vet, again, you can get it at any homeopathy medicine medical shop, mainly a retailer, not a Alpha-Vet will not be available in a regular clinic. In a retailer, you'll get it, and it's a fantastic medicine. This one for climate changes and de-stressing, it's a very good medicine. Now housing is, I'm just saying, sorry, housing simple. I'm sure most of us have these Chinese cages that are there for be it canaries or green singers or Goldens. The standard 2 feet cage, nothing smaller. There are a lot of smaller cages also available, but never suggested to go for a smaller cage. This standard cage is sufficient for them to breed. Okay. But breeding, if you look at it, it would be for probably 6 months in a year. But for the balance 6 months in a year, you need to provide a flight cage, which should be at least 4 to 5 feet long, might be for a pair of. Hello? Hello? Nabil, any issue?
Hello? So we can hear you.
No, because Nabil got active, so I thought anything he wanted to communicate. Okay, so let me continue. Flight cage, a bigger flight cage is necessary during the non-breeding seasons. Okay, it is necessary for them to have that flight. Like what I have done is I have 3 flights. Okay, one is a 8-feet flight for canaries. I keep all the female canaries and chicks that are weaned out in that during the non-breeding season. And there are 2 3-feet cages which I have joined and made it 6-feet flight. Okay, these are basically, one is for only females and chicks and one is for the males. Okay, so during the non-breeding season, I leave them in this flight, which ensures them to give them their entire muscular movement and all, and they get fit for the during when I decide to breed them again. So, and another thing is in these Chinese cages that we get, our perches are generally kept horizontally. Okay, I mean to say from side to side. The length of the perch is such that it is given side to side. If you keep from side to side, the distance for the birds to hop around is less. So I would always suggest from front to back you keep it. You can learn to cut down the perches a bit and make it front to back and one top and one bottom. If you see my perches in this cage, one is at a higher level and one is at a lower level. Never avoid keeping the perches at the same level because they do not get that hopping distance, and the exercise part of it will be lesser when they are in the breeding zone. And I also add an additional perch. If you see here, this bird is sitting here. I also add an additional perch, which will help for their personal. It's like their personal space. And on the feeding part of it, this is the ratio that I use for both my canaries and green singers. Green singers and Goldens canaries and green singers are all come under cup nesters species. Goldens are, of course, they breed in a box, they're a closed box. But the feeding habit, the seed ratio for green singers and this canary Goldens are same. Green singers are not that fussy about anything. They go ahead eating any seed mix that we give for even Goldens. Okay. Now, if you look at the ratio for canaries, I add 10% Foxtail millet, red millet 15%, barnyard millet 10%, green millet 10%, canary seeds 35%, nigger 10%, flax seeds, sesame, rape seeds and all mixed together it's 10%. Now these percentages may vary from the, you will have to do a variation in case the breeder or from where it has been procured. For example, last year, I think so, you all know that a lot of birds came from Europe. Okay, so in Europe and all, they predominantly put around 60 to 75% canary seeds. Now, once they come here to India, if you follow this ratio, you will find your birds getting little thinner because they eat less because they are used to eating more of canary seeds. So you will find all your other seeds getting wasted. So what you will have to do is, might be when you are initially procuring it, you will have to increase your canary seeds ratio and nigger ratio. Canary seeds, nigger and flax seeds ratio you'll have to have on a higher end and slowly reduce it. Because I would not suggest to keep any canary pair on a high canary seed diet because the calorific value of canary seeds is not high, not much. Whereas we are lucky to have other red millets and barnyard millets are very good. So you can slowly increase their quantities and let them get used to this barnyard millet and red millet and foxtail millets and reduce the canary. This is the standard canary. See, now my canaries are having. Okay, this is the canary mix that I am giving presently to my canaries. And for green singers, again, foxtail millet 25%, red millet 20%, green millet big 20%, canary seeds, green millet is 10%, canary seeds 15%, nigger 5%, and flaxtail, flax seeds and all other 5%. See, canaries intake of nigger is quite high. Oil seeds, they eat a lot as compared to Goldens and green singers. So you will have to always maintain a little higher ratio of oil seeds in canaries. This one. You can also add hemp in the canary seed mix. That's good, but only be very sure of keeping it very limited in the quantity. This one. And as for this, be it canaries or green singers or Goldens, egg food is mandatory. I give egg food every day. I don't know whether most of you have seen. I had shared a YouTube video of egg food, how to make egg food. So I make my own egg food at home, which could last for a week's time. If I can later on share it in the FB page, Avian Club of Kerala FB page, I'll share it. Share the video. Or you can always put boiled egg, freshly prepared boiled egg, scraped it and all and put. Now what happens between egg food is mandatory for both of them on a regular basis I give. I also add a lot of supplements, organic supplements like alfalfa, wheatgrass, spirulina on an alternative days on. If you look at an average in a week, at least 3 days in a week, I put all these supplements. In fact, nowadays I am also adding carrot and beetroot powders available instead of scraping them and putting it, whichever is easy, because it becomes easy to mix. That doesn't, the egg food doesn't become wet quite a lot. If you put a fresh grated thing, it becomes, the advantages of freshly grated vegetables I cannot take off. It is always good, but the egg food tendency for that to spoil is faster, because we may go out of a day for half a day or something and it may spoil within that. Canaries eat a lot of fruits, apples, papayas, bananas, sweet corn, carrots, beetroots. These are all very good for canaries. Okay, and it has to be given regularly because they like more of the sweet. Even sweet lime can be given. Whereas Goldens do not enjoy all this papaya and all. I have not seen my Goldens eating, and if anyone has been feeding it, please share, because we will. It is a good experience to know that what other places Goldens or anything are eating. Green singers do eat apple and papaya if given, but again it depends. They are a little fussy on the thing, but egg food they eat easily. I would lay a lot of stress on this alternative version like moringa powder and all. These are very good. These are certain things which are in the past few years have been caught up abroad. But we in India, I think so. There has always been a human consumption of moringa. For even birds. Hygiene, see, I'll tell you what hygiene is for any bird keeper, be it small, big, a single bird keeper. Hygiene is the most important. It is completely, we cannot compromise on it. Okay, we now what happens is day in day out we keep listening to a lot of uh, false rumors or right rumors or whatever you say on infections spreading from birds and all. Most of them are false. Most of them are spread from humans than by any of our animal friends. Okay, but all this is again related to the hygiene that we maintain in our bird room or in our cage, however we are keeping. Is it a bird room or if we are keeping a cage? Hygiene has to be very, very this one. So I'll just read out the points that are there: cages, perches, feeders, and drinkers to be cleaned regularly. Now there is perches. I would lay a lot of stress on people who are keeping or planning to keep canaries. I would lay a lot of stress on keeping the perches clean, because what happens is canaries, it has been seen, they tend to shed the layer of their leg skin quite often as compared to other finches. Okay, if you would have seen more, I don't know whether it's available in Kerala market or bird market or not. Here in Bangalore, whenever I used to initially buy bird from traders in the retail shops, we used to find most of the canaries would have some infection on the leg. Now, that time we were not understanding, but over a period of time, we understood that their shedding is quite frequent. At least they shed their skin every 15, 20 days a month. They will shed their skin, leg skin. And what happens is, this shedded skin, what happens is this comes and settles down near the toes. It's like scales, it's like our dry skin. It gets settled down, and that if proper care is not taken, and if the perches are dirty, that rises to infections in the toes. Now what happens is when the skins are shed, what also happens is the place where the skin has shed, it becomes very tender. And now if below the shed skin is settled and it is giving infection, the other part of the tender skin also will get infected. So one is, this generally happens because of the perch. So perches have to be very clean. Simple, have multiple perches kept aside that you can remove it, wash the perch from Dettol or Dettol water, soap water, and replace it with a dry perch. Every 10-15 days also if you do, it helps out. Feeders, drinkers, of course, I'm sure you people are maintaining that this one. And canaries, what happens is, because they eat all these fruits, we have to add fruits like papaya, apple and all in their diet. Their litter is also messy as compared to other finches. It's not that. So they tend to, your cage tends to get dirty much faster than what you may feel as compared to keeping a golden finch or might be even a green singing finch. Canaries are a little messy because of their food habits on this one. So you have to ensure that the cage trays and all are cleaned properly.